we left Burlington and I drove again. So I drove us out of the slip and into the little harbor and past the breakwater. So I drove a fairly long way, in my opinion, to get us underway. And we were headed north, and we left really early that morning because we had about 60 miles, I believe, that we had to travel. And we also had to cross the border to Canada and had to stop at the customs dock. So we saw some campers. It looks like they started their summer camps and they were doing their kayaking.
Okay, this is on us on the town of St. John. It's spelled Jean, but it's St. John, and they had a real nice little downtown, which right next to in a park right next to the.
It was a great downtown.
Yeah, and they had restaurants and a movie. Everything was closed because it was a Monday morning, but evening, and we saw this at dusk. This guy flying his hot air balloon. It's pretty good, but they had, like I said, a little park, and that kind of white thing in the back is the mechanism that raises the bridge up after you've gone through the lock. So the lock is right there by the bridge.
It was very cool looking.
And there's the lock. A sailboat came out. It was kind of the season is not underway up here, so they only allow 4 boats to go in the lock a day. 2 at 9 o'clock and 2 at 1:30.
Yeah.
So no agenda, and Red
Rover.
Red Rover went through at 9, and we went through at 4:30.
No, we went through at 1.
1 o'clock. That's right. We got through at 4:30. And it looks like we're driving down a country road, but really we're in the Chambly Canal.
Yeah, the Chambly Canal has 9 locks, and that one that we were at with the big bridge mechanism was the first lock as we were going north.
And you have to do all 9 locks in one day. It's 9 miles, but you have to do it all continuous. You can't stop. And it's like Europe with all the little houses on the canals and stuff. Here is a very wide part of the canal. It gets pretty narrow in places where it was like you think you're going to rub both sides of the boat. And you can't go fast. It has like a 5-mile-an-hour speed limit. It's all the boat can do to go 5 miles an hour and be able to steer.
This is one of the old bridges on the, I think this is the Chambly Canal. It's obviously no longer in use, but it is narrow. We slowed down. You what? The door's not open. You're good over here. You're good over here. So I turned the camera around and you can see just how narrow it is with Riker going through. So somehow we didn't get any video of all these locks because we were busy going through the locks. But we left the next morning and headed towards St. Ives.
Okay, this is the best lock ever.
It is. This is awesome.
Because they have a floating pier inside of the dock that you tie to. That's awesome.
This is really great.
We don't have to pull any lines. We don't have to do anything. We just tie to it and it goes down.
And it's long. There's enough room for all 3 of us, and we're not bunched up together. So.
No, this is great. They got a tent set up for picnics out there. I don't know. I love these little stone buildings.
This is
I don't know if you can see it. This little stone building over there.
It looks like a little park because they have benches and.
Well, all these are run by the park system.
Okay.
Yeah. So. It's all good. Okay, good morning. This is our boats here tied up to the dock in St. Ours. And this is the, continuing on this way will take us up to the St. Lawrence River. And behind us is the final lock on the Chambly Canal. And here's the little Parks Canada little park here. And the little town of St. Ours. And there's that little building straight up there. The black one is a little coffee shop that has lunch sandwiches. It was very good. We had lunch here yesterday. And the little park has these tents that you can rent out, and people come here and camp in the summer. It's like a little tent cabin. They're very nice inside. They gave us a tour yesterday. And it's very nice here. We're going to make a 17-mile trip up to the St. Lawrence, and we're going to marina there. It's about 60 miles from here to Montreal, where we're going to stop tomorrow. But tonight we're going to stop at a marina very close to the mouth of this river, where it enters into the St. Lawrence, and then goes south down to Montreal, which would be about 40 miles more. I'm sure it's beautiful here in the summer when it's warm, but you know, last week it was 90 degrees and now it's freezing again. But you can see the blue dock here. The blue dock is where you park, and that sort of tells the lock people that, oh, we've got boats that are going to go through or waiting to go through. So we've gone through like 21 locks since we left Troy to get here. And it's been a little bit of a, you know, just lock after lock. But it's been a beautiful trip. And, you know, if you don't like locks, don't do the loop, because there's a lot of them. You gotta make your peace with them and enjoy them. And the lock people are very nice and very helpful, so it's not that hard. And it's us and Riker and No Agenda up front. So we got our little armada. I call us the Nita, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. But we're having a good time. Now we're gonna get the boat ready to take off for the St. Lawrence River. Words I've never thought I'd hear myself say.
So we left the wall at the St. Ours lock. So we were able to moor on the free mooring there overnight, and we're headed towards Montreal. We're gonna go. It's a cold and rainy morning, and
So we're filming inside.
yeah, it's cold out there.
I didn't tell you, but Jody said this morning, and it was 35 degrees up on Hudson Bay.
Oh my
I
gosh.
said, I'm not getting my winter clothes back out.
I almost sent some winter stuff home with Zale and Breen, so I'm really glad I didn't.
We're not having the fog, the smoke though here really. I think it's going south of us.
Yeah.
We couldn't see it if we did. We got so much rain and clouds, but south of us apparently they're having a big smoke storm basically.
So there's wildfires in Canada. I believe it's north of us in Canada. It would have to be north of us. And so it's, however the winds are doing,
I think it's west of us.
oh, is it west of us?
And it's
Oh.
blowing down through New York. And New York was all orange yesterday.
Yeah. So we have not had any of that. we've been very, very fortunate.
So, but I made a video this morning. You saw the one about the locks. So, it was, we've been through the locks, like 21 locks in the last 2 days. So
Yeah.
it's been an ordeal. But we have these the Canadian Pass things. I'll take a picture of it and show you that we use. That they just look at it and write your number down. You have to pay anything; it's all prepaid.
Right.
So
we bought that back in March. So they have it's with the Canadian Park Service, the Parks Canada. And so we have both the locking permit and the mooring permit. And up until the end of March this year, they were having a sale, and everybody we know ended up buying both the mooring and the locking while it was on sale. I've been told that you can pay for it as you go.
but it's like $1 a foot.
Yeah, I think it's $1 a foot.
So it wouldn't have taken long. It would have been like $40 a lock times 20. It would have been a lot of money.
Yeah. So we didn't spend. I don't think we paid that much for the whole pass.
And we haven't even got to the Trent Severn Waterway, which is another 30 or 40 locks through there.
I think maybe we were the first people. When we were at that first lock in where was that? St. Jean. When we were there, I think we may have been the first group of boats that had the stickers, because
For this year,
because the lady that was working the lock, she was like, "This is my first time doing it, so I apologize." We're like, "Oh, take your time, it's fine." But she was having to fill out all the paperwork and stuff. So, but we haven't had anybody else ask about it. But we do put it on your windshield so they can see it. So.
and like the 9 locks that we did day before yesterday.
That was the Chambly Canal.
The Chambly Canal. It was the same people that do the lock. So they put you through the one lock, and as you're driving to the next one, they drive their car to the next one and let you through. So there's no, until the season gets fully underway, they only let four boats a day in the canal, the transit canal. So there were 2 sailboats that were coming through the lock behind us when I was taking the video this morning. They were the boats that were behind us 2 days ago. They couldn't get through.
Yeah, they have a 9 o'clock locking and a 1 o'clock locking, and that's all they do. And the chambers are really small, so there was only room for 2 boats of our sizes in there at a time. So so we only had 4 boats doing that. At one point, they had when the locks were a little closer to each other, they would have one set of people doing a lock, and they said, "Okay, we'll see you in about 3 locks," and you'd see them in their golf cart going down the path to the next lock down the way. But it was only like 9 miles total, right? I think it was 9 miles.
Not or less, around 9 miles total from start to finish. And it was, the last, and the locks were just like together, so you go down one, door would open up, you go in, and they close that one, let the nail one down. So it was like stair steps. So even though
that was the last 3, yeah.
So it was an ordeal. It was very interesting. It wasn't hard, but what's hard about it is you don't know what's coming. I mean, once you've done it once, it'd be nothing. But you go, what is going on? You just never. There's no, you see all these locks in front of you, and you just don't know how this is all going to happen. So, I never thought I'd be saying, let's take the boat to Montreal, but that's what we've done. I'd rather have bad weather here than when we get out on the Great Lakes.
Oh yeah.
Because this is just ugly, but it's calm water. It's just rain washing the boat. We're not going far. When I looked at the itinerary that we were using, that another boat had given us, Spirit, you know, they were like, well, you know, they went 6 miles this day and 9 miles this day. I go, why are they going so slow? What's going on? And now I know.
Yeah.
Because that's as fast as you can go. There's 9 locks in 9 miles. It's all starting to make sense. But Canada's very nice. It's weird here. Everybody speaks French, and all the signs are in French. The rest of the menus are in French, and they have a little tiny couple of words afterwards that tell you, you know, what it is in English. But
So I put a Google Translate app on my phone. So now we're good. So I was translating something this morning. So I just stick my phone up and I have it read it to me.
Will
Or
it
have it
translate chalkboard writing?
Yeah, it should.
Did it?
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't have it yesterday.
Because the menus are like chalkboards. It's interesting. There's a difference between, like, we went to a sandwich shop yesterday, and they had maybe 7 or 8 kinds of sandwiches, but they only had one kind of soup, and they didn't have potato chips. It was very strange. I've never been to a sandwich shop that didn't have potato chips.
The soup was very good.
The soup was good. It was like a Mediterranean tomato soup with vegetables in it. And we had a Cuban sandwich. It was good.
Very international.
Yeah. It was good.
So I'll say the first locks and wall here in Canada that we were at was St. Jean. Probably pronouncing that incorrectly, but it was
St. John. It's pronounced J-E-A-N is pronounced John, apparently.
Okay.
And then Richelieu, because that's the river that we were on.
Yes.
So
that was right beside a little town, and you're in the town, and there were lots of restaurants there. Of course, we were there on a Monday, and they're not open on Monday or Tuesday usually.
And this is a Thursday morning.
And no, we were there on Monday.
We were, but this is a Thursday.
Oh, today?
So they can understand what's happened at the time. This is all taking place in the last 3 days.
Yeah. So there were a lot of restaurants right there. And a little convenience store, so we were able to get
they
ice.
even had a movie theater right there.
Yeah.
You could go to a movie in France.
In French. Yeah, it was all in French.
Yeah.
And then the next day we were in Chambly on Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday we stopped in Chambly. And again, you are right beside a little town. There's even a nice grocery store there. Jody, on No Agenda, she was able to go to the grocery store. I was going to go after dinner, but it started raining on us.
The reason she got to go there is because at the 9 o'clock locking, she and Red Rover went through the lock, but Riker and us couldn't go through the lock till 1:30. So they got there about 1 o'clock, noon, 1 o'clock. So they had all afternoon to go shopping and do stuff, whereas we didn't get there till
we didn't
4:30.
even start. Yeah, we didn't even start the lock until 1 o'clock.
And then it started raining, so and just poured.
It did.
We got back to the sopping wet. We couldn't go to the store.
And that's a really good place to provision, though, if you're looking for something, because the grocery store is
like
definitely in walking distance, and it's a real grocery store.
Yeah. Yesterday the lady at the lock let us park her car to drive up a kilometer or 2 up to the grocery store, but it was not. It was like a super-sized convenience store. You know, it wasn't like a regular store.
It was a little market. Like they had a meat counter, and it was probably because this is such a small area. You know, it's their local grocery. But they didn't have a lot of selection there. So it wasn't a large supermarket, but it was a market. The only thing in walking distance from us here at St. Orr's
It was that bakery.
was
that sandwich shop.
Yeah, the cafe. And Jody had coffee. She said the coffee was really good too. So. But it was a nice relaxing area. They did have, at this place, they're part of a park. And they have a...
Tell them about the tents.
Okay, so they have
I got
these...
video of the tent, but tell them about it.
Okay, they have these tents that you can rent.
They're like cabins that are tents.
Yes, and they're up on a platform. And Chris goes, this is exactly what I wanted. And so the park girl ladies, if we could get a tour. She goes, well, we don't open until June 23rd, but I can give you a tour. So we all went through it, and they had bunk beds, and they had a table, and they had a little, like a kitchen kind of area, but they didn't, there was a barbecue pit on the porch, and they were cute. And Chris goes, this is what I'm talking about. I went, oh, okay. I could stay a couple of days in one of these.
Stay longer now.
But they, so that was good. I'm glad I got to see it, because he's been trying to explain to me what he wants to build, and I've never been able to envision it. So now I can. They also, this is the other locations didn't have showers, but this location had a really nice restrooms, and they had a shower. We were talking to the Park Service young lady. You have to ask her because they give you the code. Again, because we had the mooring, we were able to get the code. They don't give it out, I don't think, to the public. They lock the doors at 4:30 in the afternoon. So, but we had the code to get in. And then there's a separate code to use the shower, and it's $3 per person to use the shower. And we went ahead and did that, and the showers I thought they were very nice. They were very big, and lots of room, and I had good hot water. We had good hot water. So it was a good, they have a good restroom experience here. And it's really, really close to the pier that we were on.
If you're trying to decide whether or not you want to go this way or the Erie Canal, this is a little bit more like the Trent Severn, a bigger version of the Trent Severn, I think. I haven't done it yet, but I'm just imagining it. There's a lot of little canals. There are places where you had 3 feet on either side of the boat to the shore. It was very narrow in some places, and then there are places where you're in a larger lake, or like this area we're in now is a bigger, wider area. And there's lots of locks, but there's lots of locks on the Erie Canal. But if you're going to do Montreal, if you want to go to Montreal, this is the way to do it. And we've had bad weather, but I'm sure it's pretty up here.
Oh yeah.
It's been cold.
But we're early.
I would say, don't come this way because you think you can't make it. If you can get over those 17-foot bridges, and you're not a big giant wide catamaran, it's very nice that it's just a little town. Every lock has been at a town where you could, if you could stop there. Like on the Chambly, you can't stop. You have to do all those locks in one day. There's no stopping. So you are getting out of your boat. You just got to do it. It's 9 miles. It's 9 locks. You just got to do it. But after when you get out, there's a little marina there, and there's a giant wall where you can park and spend the night. It's all free.
With the mooring pass.
With the mooring pass. But if you're going to go up to Canada, you're probably going to have that anyway. It's about twice as long, but that means twice as much scenery, twice as many French bakeries. I should have counted how many chocolate croissants I've had on this whole trip. But no, it's beautiful. We just can't go outside and show you because it's pouring down rain or it's freezing cold or both.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know the North Pole is around here somewhere. And it gets dark. The sun comes up at about 4:30 in the morning. At 5 o'clock in the morning, it looks like 8 o'clock back home.
Yeah.
And then at 9 o'clock, the sun's still out. So I guess we're getting farther north. It's making some kind of difference. The days are long.
The daylight is long. Yeah. Yeah, this morning I woke up and I'm thinking, okay, it's probably like 7. And I asked Chris and he said, it's 5:15. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going back to sleep.
It looked like 8 o'clock.
So we are coming out of the last channel that we were in, the Chambly channel, maybe? We're coming out of the channel. And we are about to turn into the St. Lawrence River. We are going to be turning port, turning to our left. outside, so I am staying inside. So I hope the picture's okay. All right, we're on our way to Montreal. We had an overnight stop in a marina on the St. Lawrence River, but now we are, our next stop is Montreal, Old Town Montreal. We are on the St. Lawrence River, which Chris says is a real river. We passed up a barge a minute ago, and here's a big tanker, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like being back in Louisiana with all these ships.
It's the fifth fastest flowing river in the world.
So Chris says that the St. Lawrence is the 5th fastest flowing river in the world.
And we're going 850 RPMs, 26 miles an hour.
So we think that the current is about 3 miles an hour or so, because we've got we're going 850 RPM, which usually takes us what, 8 miles an hour, 9 miles an hour, 8 or 9 miles an hour, and we're going right now. We're going 6, and we're fighting to go 6. 5.9 miles per hour. And we're laughing about, Chris keeps saying that we're close. What do you say about the North Pole?
North Pole.
He keeps saying that he thinks
right over those trees is the North Pole.
he keeps saying right over those trees is the North Pole, which is not. But I tell him that that this is the closest we've ever been to the North Pole. Yesterday was the furthest north that we're gonna go when we came out of that channel and got into the St. Lawrence River. But we woke up at 4:30 this morning, and it was light. It was light outside.
It was 46 degrees latitude exactly.
Oh, 46 degrees latitude.
Dot 00, which is the same latitude as Switzerland.
When we got off the channel?
Yeah, we turned off the channel. It was 46 degrees latitude.
When we came off the channel yesterday and got into the St. Lawrence River, we were at 46 degrees latitude, which is the same latitude as Switzerland. So. I keep saying my geography is not that great, and it's not. So.
But you know now.
I'm learning more.
You saw the maps yesterday.
Yeah.
You saw the route. You made a route on Google Earth.
Yeah.
Because once we leave Montreal, we'll be heading towards Ottawa, and then past Ottawa, it's just there's nothing out there. It's just islands and various rivers and creeks that we're going to go down. So I had no idea what our path would be. It's very, kind of through. So, but I mapped it out from place to place on Google Earth. And if you expand it, you see these little towns, and we're just going from these little towns. It's going to be interesting, and it's going to be beautiful. I
Yes.
mean, it is. The next thing we'll be looking for is bears. We'll be out in bear country, so maybe we'll see one on shore.
Don't they say not to put your trash in the dinghy because of bears?
Well, I'm going to. I'm going to open trash. I'm going to apples out. I want to see a bear. If a bear wants to come in the dinghy and get an apple, come on.
Well, we fought the current to Montreal, and as we got closer to Montreal, the current got unbelievable. It must have been 6 or 7 miles an hour current. We were going 1,400 RPMs to go 6 miles an hour. It was crazy. That would have been normally 15 miles an hour. But we got there with the marina was very nice. It was right next to what they call Old Town Montreal.
It was great. It was right beside the old town. It was easy to walk into. The marina's wonderful, and so it was a good place to stay.
That was excellent. I couldn't have been better. Everything was right there. And Lark tosses the line. We got tied up, and we immediately got off the boat and walked into Montreal.
Yeah, that's it.
And Katia said it was just like France. It was just like restaurants on the street with little patios outside, and they had all the checkered flags out for the
Grand Prix.
And there's the port down there where the boat is. We're just walking around. Yeah. Sven's picking a restaurant.
I'm trying to.
We found the one Dairy Queen in Canada.
It is Friday. Yes.
It's Friday night.
It's Friday night.
Just restaurants all the way down the street.
After dinner, we did more walking around, and it's all this pedestrian area. So there's no cars in this area at all. And it was just beautiful. It was a really nice night and just a gorgeous area.
It was great. And the next day we went on another tour of that we love, and this was Montreal. We went to the kind of a square in front of the courthouse. They had statues, different places.
We are back to St. Paul Street. We just, we went up on Notre Dame and now back to St. Paul Street. So St. Paul Street again. On the right, this is the Marché Bon Secours. Bon Secours Market. It was a market. So this is the east part of Montreal, the French part of Montreal. French-speaking part of Montreal here on the right. The building with the white roof and the inclined tower, it's the Olympic Stadium. We had the Olympic in 1976, and the inclined tower is the highest in the world. 45 degrees, 165 meters. Yeah, it's the highest. And this stadium has 56,000 seats inside. It's one of the 2 largest stadiums in Canada.
We had a really good time in Montreal. The sightseeing was wonderful, the walking around. We had great food. The food was fabulous. And we ended up going to Cirque du Soleil one night too.
Yeah, you can see it. It was right next to the marina in that blue tent right straight ahead next to the Ferris wheel. And it was awesome.
So we highly recommend people come to Montreal. It was not even on our radar. Katya and I were talking that we would never have even thought about going to Montreal. And we can't believe, we can't imagine not having gone. So it was a really good time.
Here's me spinning around in the marina, and then we left the marina, and then we headed downstream. We had practically had the engines turned off, and we were going 12 miles an hour downstream. And you can see the Cirque du Soleil tent right there on the left, that blue and white striped tent. So we just walked over there one evening and saw the show. And I'm telling you, if you go see Cirque du Soleil, it was awesome.
We saw Echo. It's a brand new one that they just opened.
It was fun. And we headed down the river, went under the bridge, and then kind of made a U-turn to the right and entered into a lock, the commercial lock, and then to try to, which they built to get away from all this high current right here in Montreal.
Well, we had a great week, learned lots of things going through those locks, and had a great time in Montreal. So thank you for joining us. Join us next week as we head up the Rideau Canal and onto Ottawa. If you haven't already, please subscribe, leave us your comments, give us a like, and stay tuned for Chris's next episode of View Out the Shower Window.
Okay, time for another view from the shower window. And this is Carilion, Canada. We're on a wall near a hydroelectric plant, and a big lock. But this is the view out the shower window across this lake, and a little bit of a picture of land over there. It's very pretty. Ducks and everything around. tomorrow we are heading to a marina, and the next day we'll be in Ottawa, the capital of Canada.